Hello. So this section, let's talk about what you should do. Again, these are takeaways that I'm hoping that you keep in mind as you do this course and additional courses going forward. So, number one, you should set up your own lab. I mean, that's what you're here for, right? This is what this course is all about. We're going to set up a lab. We're not going to go into how to exploit these vulnerable applications at this point. I think that's just a whole new set of videos that I'll create at some point down the road. But for now, you want to set up your own lab. And I kind of hit on this earlier where you want to have a nice controlled environment where you could do your pen testing. In the event the virtual machine crashes, or in the event that you break something, or you shut a service down by accident, it doesn't matter because you're within your contained and controlled environment. If you're going to break something through the learning process, you want to do it through a controlled environment. So, number one, set up your own lab. You're definitely at the right place for that. So, good first step. Number two, we're going to be setting up vulnerable apps on your devices here, right? One of them is going to be called Damn Vulnerable Web Application, right? Like, think about that, right? Just think about that name, Damn Vulnerable Web Application. This thing uses PHP, so for that, you're going to have to turn on Apache. It uses a backend database, so for that, you're going to have to turn on MySQL. So when you are done pen testing, or when you turn on your pen testing module, you turn these services on. When you're done with your pen testing, you need to make sure you turn these services off, especially if your machine is external facing and connected to the internet. So think about what you're doing. If you're going to turn something on, turn it off at the end of the day. And your VM, make sure you turn that off at the end of the day as well. Number three, segregate your network from the outside world. So just my story here, I have a computer that I have set up that remains on a segregated network, very limited inbound and very limited outbound connection. And I turn off my services every night, but even in the time that I'm hacking, why? Why do they need to be open to the outside world? I don't ever want to even accidentally put myself in a situation where I'm accidentally hacking a true website rather than a controlled environment. So segregate the network, close it off if you can. You can simply turn off your Wi-Fi after you get everything set up. Turn off your Wi-Fi or unplug your Ethernet cable, because once we've got this virtual machine set up, it'll all run within a contained environment, and it'll be a local server, local services running, so it'll all happen contained. So segregate from the outside world. The next two, take your time trying to exploit and research what you don't understand. So you're going to have a lot of tools with Kali Linux, right? 600 plus actually, and we'll go into that. You want to learn what you're doing and conceptually understand why it worked or why it didn't. So my advice to you, research what you don't understand. If you're able to hack something and you're successful, excellent. I'm proud of you. I'm very happy for you. But you need to go out and research why it worked. If you go out and find that it didn't work, then you need to go out and research why it didn't work. So obviously, if it didn't work, you'll go research and you'll figure it out, right? But if it did work, why do you want to go out and do additional research? You should feel like the boss at that point, right? Well, the reason is because not all environments are going to be the same. The hacking that you've done in the vulnerable environment may not be the same type of vulnerability that you find in another environment, or the configuration might be different, or the authentication method might be different. So continue being successful, right? But when you are successful, understand conceptually what happened there and why it worked. So take your time trying to exploit, research what you don't understand. Think about remediation. So going back to my story about stealing credit card numbers and stuff, um, you got to think back about what my boss said. My boss said to me, I don't care how this happened, but it never better happen again. They don't care about when it took place or how it took place. They want to make sure it never happens again. That's the remediation portion. So unless you want to go on with your life and become a bounty hunter for someone like Google or Microsoft and look for vulnerabilities in their applications, People not want that report, a pen test report. They want to know what was broken, but moreover, they want to know how you fix it. So always think about remediation. Next one is don't hack external websites without a contract. I think I've harped on this already. Please, please, please make sure that it is a written and approved contract before you hit any external websites. In my previous job, I have been able to do some really good work. Um, we've had nights where I have been up, and I used to work from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I've been up stealing credit card numbers, and I was able to exploit tens of thousands of credit card numbers, right? And that's great news. I mean, it's such a rush when you're doing it. But the next day, I had to go into the company and tell them, "Hey guys, look, this is what I stole. This is what I did. How I stole it, and this is what you need to do to make sure it never happens again." Again, think about remediation, right? There were other times where I was doing scans on a server and the server went down and they were down for about 4 hours, right? Like things like this, if they happen and I exploit something and I break something, if I did not have a contract, a written contract that I could fall back on, I wouldn't be sitting here doing classes right now. I'd probably be in some penitentiary. So, guys, I used to work with the FBI, and I can tell you for a fact that they take this stuff very, very seriously, especially if it's a US based IP address. So do not hack any external website without a contract. And this last one is learn to hack, but understand how to remediate. So that kind of brings everything together, right? Your goal here is to become an ethical hacker. Your goal, your end product needs to say what you did, how you did it, and how they fix this. Learn to hack, but learn to remediate.